My daughter-in-law looked me straight in the eye and said, "My family always comes first, and you come last." My daughter, Jessica, was standing right next to her, nodding her head. I expected her to say something, to defend me, to remember everything I had done for them. But no, she just looked down and whispered, "Mom, Brad is right." I felt something crack inside my chest. It wasn't dramatic. It was silent, like a dry branch snapping under the weight of snow. I smiled. I told them, "Good to know." And in that moment, I decided that I would have priorities too, and that they would no longer be on my list. That night, I went back to my apartment alone. It was 2 small rooms in an old building downtown. The walls were beige, stained by humidity. The linoleum floor creaked when I walked. From the window, all you could see was the parking lot and a laundromat that never closed. There was no view. There wasn't enough natural light, but it was what I could afford after selling them my house. My house. The house where I raised Jessica. 3 bedrooms, a garden full of roses, a spacious kitchen with windows looking out to the backyard. I sold it 5 years ago after my husband passed away. Jessica told me they needed help with the down payment for their new house. "Mom, it's an investment for everyone. You're going to live with us eventually. Why do you need so much space all by yourself?" I believed her. I gave her almost all the money from the sale. $180,000. I kept barely $30,000 for the apartment and expenses. They bought a 2-story house in a gated community, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 3-car garage, a backyard with a swimming pool. I used to go over on Sundays to watch my grandkids, Madison and Tyler. I brought food I had prepared Saturday night: meatloaf, chicken and rice, vegetable soup. I cleaned the kitchen after we ate. I washed the dishes. I folded the laundry they left in the dryer. Jessica always had commitments: yoga classes, brunch with her girlfriends, appointments at the hair salon. Brad played golf on Sunday mornings. He would come back late, smelling of beer and cigars. He would greet me with a nod. He never asked how I was. He never thanked me for watching his kids. I was part of the house's inventory, like the vacuum cleaner or the microwave. The children loved me. Madison is 12 years old. Brown hair, down to her waist. Big, sad eyes. She always hugged me when I arrived. "Grandma, I'm so glad you're here." Tyler is 8. He is quiet. He likes to draw. He would show me his sketches of dinosaurs and spaceships. I kept them in a binder I had at my apartment. It was the only thing that made me feel like I still mattered to someone. But 3 months ago, things changed. I started noticing that Jessica answered my calls with reluctance. "Mom, I'm busy." "What do you need?" As if calling my own daughter was bothering her. I stopped going every Sunday. I waited for them to invite me. 2 weeks passed. Then 3. Nobody called. So, I was the one who dialed. "Can I come see the kids this Sunday?" Jessica sighed. "Better not, Mom. We have family plans." Family plans. The word pierced through me. I wasn't included in those plans. I wasn't family. I was something else. Something secondary. Something used when convenient. Yesterday they called me. "Brad." His voice sounded kind. Too kind. "Eleanor, we want to invite you to dinner tomorrow. It's been a while since we talked as a family." I hesitated. Something didn't sound right, but I accepted. I wanted to believe they had reflected on things, that they missed me, that they remembered everything I had done. I arrived at 7 in the evening. I rang the doorbell. Brad opened the door. He was wearing a pearl gray button-down shirt, dark slacks. He smelled of expensive cologne. He greeted me with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Come in." "Eleanor." "Jessica is in the kitchen." I walked in. The house was spotless, gleaming hardwood floors, ivory leather furniture, a crystal chandelier in the dining room, all bought with my money. Jessica came out of the kitchen. She was wearing an olive green dress, fitted, elegant. Her hair was pulled back in a high bun. Perfect makeup. She kissed me on the cheek. A cold kiss. Mechanical. "Hi, Mom. Sit down. Dinner is almost ready." I sat at the dining room table. Brad sat across from me. Jessica brought a tray with roast chicken, salad, and bread rolls. She poured wine into tall glasses. We made a toast. To family, Brad said. I raised my glass without saying a word. We ate in an uncomfortable silence. I expected them to say something, to explain why they had invited me. But there were only the sounds of silverware against plates. Chewing. Swallowing. The wall clock ticking every second. Finally, Brad spoke. Eleanor, we want to talk about something important. He wiped his mouth with his napkin. He looked at Jessica. She nodded. He continued. We have been thinking a lot about our family dynamic, and we believe it is time to set clearer boundaries. Boundaries. I felt a chill run down my spine. Jessica and I have our own responsibilities. Our children, our home, our finances. And we need to focus on that. On our nuclear family. He paused. He looked straight at me. You are important, of course. But you can't expect us to always be available for you. I hadn't asked them to be available for me. I was the one who was always available for them. Jessica took the floor. Her voice sounded rehearsed. Mom, you understand, right? We have to think about ourselves first. About Madison and Tyler. About our future. She took a deep breath, and then she said it. My family always comes first. You come last. The silence that followed was dense. Heavy. Like molten lead. I looked at my daughter. The girl I breastfed for a year. The girl I nursed when she had pneumonia at 5 years old. The teenager who cried in my arms when her first boyfriend dumped her. The woman to whom I gave everything. Literally everything. I waited for her to take it back. To say she expressed herself poorly. That she didn't mean that. But she didn't. She just looked at me, waiting for my reaction. Mom, Brad is right, Jessica added. Her voice was firm. There was no doubt. There was no regret. I could have stood up. I could have screamed. I could have cried. But I didn't do any of that. I took my wine glass. I took a sip. I set it on the table carefully. I smiled. A small smile. Calm. Good to know, I said. Brad blinked, confused. Jessica frowned. They expected drama. They expected tears. They expected me to beg. I gave them none of that. I stood up. I folded my napkin. I placed it next to the plate. Thanks for dinner. It was delicious. I walked toward the door. I grabbed my purse. My keys. Mom. Jessica followed me to the entryway. Are you okay? Perfectly fine, I replied. You just clarified something very important to me, and I thank you for it. I left that house. I got into my car, an old silver sedan with dents on the rear door. I started the engine. I drove through empty streets to my apartment. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat on the sofa in my apartment, staring at the wall. The beige paint was peeling in the corners. There was a water stain that looked like a map. I thought about everything I had lost to get here, to this small place, to this loneliness. I remembered when Jessica was born. It was a difficult birth. 18 hours of labor. My husband, rest his soul, was with me the whole time. He held my hand. He wiped the sweat from my forehead. When the nurse finally placed Jessica in my arms, I cried. She was perfect. Small. Fragile. Mine. The first years were beautiful. I worked part-time at a fabric store. My husband was an accountant at a construction company. We didn't have much money, but it was enough. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment. Jessica slept in a crib next to our bed. At night, I nursed her while listening to her soft breathing. It seemed like a miracle that something so perfect had come out of me. When Jessica turned 4, we bought our first house. It was small, but it had a garden. I planted roses by the entrance. Coral and pale yellow roses. Jessica helped me water them. She got her hands dirty with soil. She laughed. That sound was the most beautiful thing in the world. My husband worked long hours. He left at 6 in the morning. He returned at 8 at night. I left my job to care for Jessica full-time. I cooked, cleaned, took her to school, helped with homework. We were happy. Oh, that's what I thought. When Jessica was 12, my husband suffered his first heart attack. He survived, but the doctors said he had to slow down. Less stress, better diet. He left his job and opened a small accounting consulting business from home. Income went down. I went back to work. I got a job at a bakery. Early morning shifts. I left at 4 in the morning. I returned at noon. I slept 2 hours and prepared lunch. I helped Jessica with homework. We ate dinner together. I went back to sleep early to get up again at 3:30. Jessica never complained. She was a good student, responsible, organized. But something changed when she entered high school. She became distant. She spent hours locked in her room. She spoke little at dinner. When I asked her if everything was okay, she answered, "Yes, Mom, I'm fine." But her look said otherwise. At 17, she met Brad. He was 19. He was studying business administration. He came from a wealthy family. His father owned a chain of hardware stores. Brad drove a new car. He wore brand-name clothes. He took Jessica to expensive restaurants. I was suspicious. Something about the way he looked at me made me uncomfortable, as if I were inferior, as if I didn't deserve to be in the same room as him. But Jessica was in love, and I wanted her to be happy. They got married when she turned 23. I organized the wedding. I booked the venue, the catering, the flowers. I paid for everything with the savings my husband and I had, $12,000. It was everything we had saved in 10 years. But it was my daughter's wedding. It was worth it. The ceremony was beautiful. Jessica wore an ivory dress with lace on the shoulders. She looked radiant. She walked down the aisle on her father's arm. I cried in the front row. Tears of happiness, of pride, of hope. After the wedding, Jessica moved in with Brad to an apartment in a residential area. I visited her every week. I brought food. I helped her clean. She seemed happy, but there was something in her eyes that worried me. A quiet sadness, a resignation. 2 years later, Madison was born. Jessica had complications during the pregnancy. High blood pressure, risk of preeclampsia. She was on absolute bed rest for the last 3 months. I went every day. I cooked. I cleaned. I did the grocery shopping. Brad worked all day. He arrived late. He almost never asked how Jessica was. When Madison was born, I was at the hospital. Jessica had an emergency C-section. I waited outside the operating room for 2 hours. I prayed. I cried. Finally, the doctor came out. Everything went well. Mother and daughter are stable. I went in to see her. Jessica was pale, exhausted. She held Madison against her chest. She looked at me and smiled. "Thanks for being here, Mom." The first months were difficult. Madison cried a lot at night. Jessica didn't sleep. Brad slept in the guest room because he had to get up early for work. I stayed with Jessica several nights a week. I held Madison. I rocked her. I changed diapers. I prepared bottles. 3 years later, Tyler was born. Another complicated pregnancy, another C-section. I was there again, caring, cooking, cleaning, being the safety net that no one else was. Meanwhile, my husband was getting worse. His heart was weak. The doctors said he needed surgery, a new valve. The procedure cost $45,000. Insurance covered half. We needed the rest. I asked Jessica for help. She and Brad already had a good income. Brad worked at his father's company. He earned well. They lived comfortably. I explained the situation to them. "He is your dad," I told her. "He needs this surgery to live." Jessica talked to Brad. He said they could lend $5,000, no more. We have our own expenses. Eleanor, the kids, the mortgage. We can't commit to more. $5,000. When I had paid for their entire wedding. When I had babysat their children without charging a single cent. When I had given everything. I got the money by selling jewelry, furniture, asking friends for loans. The surgery was done. My husband survived. But something broke in me that day. I understood that for my daughter, I was useful only when she needed it. My husband lived 4 more years. Quiet years. We sat in the garden in the afternoons. We watered the roses together. We talked about life, about Jessica, about the grandkids. He always said, "Jessica will change. You'll see. When she matures, she will value you." I wanted to believe him. He died one October morning. Massive heart attack. In his sleep, painless. I woke up and he was no longer breathing. I called the ambulance. I called Jessica. She arrived 2 hours later. Brad didn't come. He had an important meeting, Jessica said. The funeral was simple. Few people. Jessica was with me during the ceremony. But after burying him, she left me alone at home. "Mom, I have to pick up the kids from school. You'll be fine." She didn't wait for my answer. I stayed alone in that house full of memories. Every corner spoke to me of him, of us. I couldn't stay there. I told Jessica I would sell the house. She got excited. "Mom, we actually need help buying a bigger house. The kids are growing. They need their own space." And that's how I lost my home, my garden, my roses, all to help a daughter who was now telling me that I came last. 2 weeks passed after that dinner. 2 weeks in which I didn't receive any calls. No messages, no visits. It was as if Jessica and Brad had erased my existence from their lives. And strangely, I felt calmer than ever. I stopped sending messages asking about the kids. I stopped calling on Sundays. I stopped preparing extra food just in case they invited me. For the first time in years, my weekends were mine. I read. I watched old movies on television. I walked through the park near my apartment. I watched other people live their lives without carrying the weight of ingratitude. But then, one Tuesday afternoon, my phone rang. It was Jessica. I hesitated before answering. I let it ring 3, 4 times. Finally, I answered. "Hi, Mom." Her voice sounded cheerful. Too cheerful, like when she was a child and wanted to ask permission for something. "How have you been?" "I've missed you. I've missed you." The words sounded hollow. "I've been fine," I replied. My voice was neutral, cold. "Mom, I want to invite you to something special. This Saturday is Madison's birthday. She's turning 13. You know, it's an important age. We want to have a family gathering. Nothing too big, just us. The kids miss you a lot." The kids. She always used the kids as bait. "I don't know if I can," I said. "I have plans." There was a silence on the other end. Jessica didn't expect that answer. "Plans? What plans, Mom?" Her tone changed. It was no longer sweet. It was inquisitive. Annoyed. "Personal ones," I replied. I didn't owe her explanations. "Mom, it's your granddaughter's birthday. What could be more important than that?" Now her voice had a touch of accusation, as if I were the bad guy for not being immediately available. I took a deep breath. "What time?" "At 3 in the afternoon. You can arrive at 2 to help me prepare some things. You know how complicated everything gets for me with so many guests." So many guests. I thought she said it was something small. "Just family. It's fine. I'll arrive at 3, I said. "Not at 2. I wasn't going to arrive early to work for free again." "Perfect, Mom. We'll expect you. Oh, and if you can bring your chocolate cake, that would be great. Madison loves it." Of course. They didn't just want my presence. They wanted my labor. I hung up the phone and stared at the screen. Something wasn't right. I could feel it. The call had been too calculated, too friendly after 2 weeks of total silence. Jessica wanted something. And it wasn't just for me to bring a cake. Saturday arrived. I baked the chocolate cake the night before. 3 layers, chocolate cream filling, smooth frosting. I put 13 silver candles on it. I put it in a special container. I dressed in a simple outfit. Buy trousers, lavender blues, comfortable shoes. I combed my hair back. I put on a little lipstick. I looked in the mirror. 72 years old. Wrinkles around the eyes, hands with age spots. But my gaze was still strong. I arrived at 3 o'clock sharp. I rang the doorbell. I waited. The door opened. It was Brad. He was wearing jeans and a light gray shirt. He smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. "Eleanor, I'm glad you came. Come in." I entered with the cake. The house was silent, too silent. "Where are the guests?" I asked. Oh, there was a change of plans. We decided to do something more intimate. Just us. Brad closed the door behind me. The sound of the deadbolt made me nervous. Jessica came out of the kitchen. She was wearing jeans and a peach-colored blouse. Hair down, no makeup, nothing festive, nothing to indicate it was a birthday. "Mom, thanks for coming. Leave the cake in the kitchen." I took it to the kitchen. The table was empty. There were no decorations. No balloons. No colored plates or themed napkins. Nothing. "Where is Madison?" I asked. "She's upstairs with Tyler. They'll come down soon." Jessica crossed her arms. Brad entered the kitchen and leaned against the counter. Both of them looked at me. The atmosphere was strange, tense, as if they were waiting for the right moment to say something. "Sit down." "Mom, we need to talk." There it was, the real reason for the invitation. I sat in one of the dining room chairs. Jessica and Brad sat across from me. He took her hand. A united gesture, a common front. "Mom, we've been thinking a lot about what we talked about last time, about setting boundaries." Jessica spoke slowly, measuring every word. "And we believe it is important that we have a deeper conversation about expectations." Expectations. What a convenient word. Brad cleared his throat. "Eleanor, we appreciate everything you've done for us. Truly. But we've noticed that sometimes you have certain expectations about our time, about our attention. And that can be complicated." I hadn't asked for anything, not even a call once in a while. "We want you to understand that our priority is our children, our marriage, our stability." Jessica looked at me as if she were explaining something to a small child. "We can't be looking out for you all the time." "I haven't asked you to look out for me," I said. My voice was calm, firm. "Well, not directly, but your constant calls, your unannounced visits." Brad pointed his index finger at me, as if I were the problem. "I haven't called in 2 weeks. I have never visited without announcing it." Jessica sighed, impatient. "Mom, it's not about that. It's about us needing space. We need you to respect our boundaries." "What boundaries?" I asked. "Tell me clearly what you want." Brad and Jessica looked at each other. Something passed between them, a silent signal. "We want you to stop showing up on Sundays expecting us to invite you to lunch," said Brad. "We want you not to call more than once a week. We want you to understand that we aren't always going to be available for you." Every word was a slap. "Anything else?" I asked. Jessica took a deep breath. "Yes, we want you to stop bringing food every time you come. It makes Brad feel like you're criticizing my cooking." I had never criticized anything. I just wanted to help. I just wanted them to eat well. "Understood," I said. I stood up. "Can I see Madison before I go?" "She's busy with her things," said Jessica quickly. "Better another day. Another day that would never come. The cake is in the kitchen. Enjoy it." I walked toward the door. "Mom, don't leave angry. We just want things to be clear between us." Jessica followed me. Her voice now had a touch of worry. Not for me, for how she looked. "I'm not angry," I said. And it was true. I no longer felt anger. I felt clarity. "Everything is very clear now." I opened the door. Before leaving, I turned around. Was it really Madison's birthday today? Jessica lowered her gaze. She didn't answer. It wasn't her birthday. It had all been a lie to get me here, to have me sitting in front of them while they told me I was a burden. I left. I got into my car. I started it. While I drove back to my apartment, something changed inside me. There was no longer sadness. There was no longer hope that things would improve. There was decision. Cold, clear, irreversible. If I was a nuisance in their lives, then they would disappear from mine. Completely. I arrived at my apartment and locked the door. I took off my shoes. I sat on the sofa. I looked at the ceiling. The cracks formed irregular lines, like dry rivers on an ancient map. I breathed deeply. Once, twice, 3 times. Something had ended, but something else was beginning. I got up and went to my bedroom. I opened the bottom drawer of my dresser. That's where I kept all the important documents. Old deeds, birth certificates, my husband's death certificate, and a manila folder that I hadn't opened in 5 years. I took it out. I put it on the bed. Inside were all the papers from the sale of my house, the contract, the bank transfers. The receipts. $180,000 transferred directly to Jessica and Brad's account, with a note handwritten by me for the down payment on their new house. With love, Mom. I sat on the bed and reviewed every paper. The dates, the amounts. Everything was there, black on white. The proof of my generosity and of their silence. I took out my phone. I searched my contacts for a name I hadn't dialed in years. Kate Miller, my neighbor from the old house. The last time we spoke was at my husband's funeral. She came. She hugged me. She told me, if you ever need anything, whatever it is, call me. I dialed. It rang 4 times. Hello. Her voice was raspy but warm. Kate, it's Eleanor. Eleanor Vance. There was a pause, then a shout of joy. Eleanor. Oh my God. How long has it been? How are you? Where have you been? I need to talk to you. I said. In person. Can we meet? Of course. When? Tomorrow. Tomorrow is perfect. Come to my house. Do you remember the address? I remember. I hung up. I lay on the bed with the folder on my chest. I closed my eyes. For the first time in weeks, I slept deeply. The next day, I woke up early. I showered. I dressed in comfortable clothes. Dark brown pants, cream-colored blouse, light sweater. I took the manila folder. I left. I drove 40 minutes to the neighborhood where I had lived for 30 years. The streets were familiar to me. Every corner had a memory. The bakery where I bought sweet bread on Sundays. The park where I took Jessica when she was little. The pharmacy where my husband picked up his medications. I arrived at Kate's house. It was a single-story house, pale yellow, with a garden full of plants. I knocked on the door. She opened immediately. Kate was 65 years old. Completely white hair, short, curly, honey-colored eyes behind thick-rimmed glasses. She was thin, small, but her presence filled any space. Eleanor. She hugged me tight. She smelled of coffee and cinnamon. Come in. Come in. I made you coffee. We went in. Her living room was full of books, shelves up to the ceiling. Law books, history, novels. Kate had been a lawyer for 40 years. She retired 5 years ago. But her mind remained sharp as a razor. We sat in her kitchen. She poured coffee into turquoise ceramic mugs. She put oatmeal cookies on a plate. Tell me, she said. What happened? I told her everything. From my husband's death, the sale of the house, the money I gave to Jessica, the years caring for her children. Brad's words, my daughter's coldness. Kate listened in silence. She didn't interrupt. She took sips of coffee. She nodded occasionally. When I finished speaking, she set her mug on the table. Do you have papers? I took out the folder. I gave it to her. She opened it. She read every document with attention. She took out a notebook. She took notes. 20 minutes passed. Finally, she looked up. Eleanor, was that money a gift or a loan? A gift, I said. We never talked about repayment. Do you have anything in writing that says it was a loan? No. She nodded. And did they promise you anything in return? To take care of you in your old age? Let you live with them. Jessica said I would eventually live with them. That why did I need a big house being alone? Do you have it recorded? In writing? Text messages? No. Kate closed the folder. She leaned back in her chair. She looked at me seriously. Legally, it's going to be difficult to recover that money. It was a gift. There is no contract. There are no documented promises. She paused. But there is something that worries me more. What is it? Have you checked your bank accounts recently? Your documents? Do you have a will? I have a will. Everything goes to her when I die. She knows it. Yes. Kate drummed her fingers on the table. Eleanor, I need you to do something. Today. Right now. I want you to go to your bank. To review every movement of the last 5 years. Every withdrawal. Every transfer. I want you to verify if anyone else has access to your accounts. Why? Because I've seen this before. Many times. Children who manipulate elderly parents. Who take control of their finances little by little. Who make them sign papers without them understanding well what they are signing. She looked me straight in the eyes. Jessica has power of attorney over you. My heart raced. I don't know. Have you signed papers recently? Documents she brought you? Did she ever ask you to sign something to expedite paperwork? Or in case something happens? I thought. I remembered. 2 years ago, Jessica came to my apartment with some papers. She said they were to update my health insurance. Just sign here, Mom. It's just paperwork. I signed without reading. I trusted her. Yes, I said. My voice sounded weak. 2 years ago, health insurance papers. Kate closed her eyes. She sighed. Eleanor, I need you to give me permission to investigate. I have contacts. I can find out what you signed. I can check if there are strange movements in your accounts. I can verify if someone is using your name for something. Do you think Jessica is stealing from me? I don't know, but I prefer to find out now than when it's already too late. I felt cold. A deep cold that ran through my bones. Do it, I said. Find out everything. Kate nodded. I need you to give me access to your documents, to your bank statements, to everything you have, and I need you to trust me. I trust you. We spent the next 3 hours reviewing papers. Kate took photos of every document with her phone. She made calls, she sent emails. I just watched. I felt as if I were watching my life from the outside, as if this were happening to someone else. Finally, Kate left her phone on the table. I need 2 days. 2 days to get information. Come back on Wednesday, at this same time. And meanwhile, don't say anything to Jessica. Nothing to Brad. Act normal. If they call you, answer. If they invite you, accept. I don't want them to suspect you are investigating. And if they ask me for money, tell them you don't have any, that your expenses have increased. Invent something, but don't give them anything. I nodded. I stood up. Kate walked me to the door. Eleanor, she said before I left, prepare yourself. Sometimes the truth hurts more than ignorance. It already hurts, I replied. Now I just want to know how much. I drove back to my apartment. The sky was gray, threatening rain. I went in. I locked the door. I sat on the sofa. My phone rang. It was Jessica. I took a deep breath. I answered. Hi, Mom. I just wanted to apologize for yesterday. I think we were too hard on you. Her voice sounded regretful. Calculated. Don't worry, I said. I understand. Really? Oh, Mom, you take a weight off my shoulders. I love you very much. You know that, right? I know. Hey, Mom, I need to ask you a favor. There it was. The real reason for the call. Tell me. I need you to lend me $3,000. It's an emergency. Tyler needs braces, and the dentist asks for payment up front. $3,000. Kate had told me to say no. Jessica, right now I can't. My expenses have been very high. The medicines, the rent. Mom, it's just $3,000. I know you have it. Please. It's for your grandson. I'm sorry, I can't. There was silence. Then her voice changed. It became cold. I see. Well, okay. Goodbye. She hung up. I stared at the phone. Something was wrong. Very wrong. And in 2 days I would know exactly what. The 2 days passed slowly. Too slowly. Every hour felt like a full day. I tried to keep myself busy. I cleaned my apartment. I watched television without paying attention. I cooked meals I barely tasted. My mind was elsewhere. On what Kate might discover. On what Jessica might have done. On Tuesday night, Jessica called me again. Mom, we got the money for Tyler's braces. A friend of Brad's lent it to us. But I wanted to tell you that it hurt that you told me no, after everything we have done for you. Everything they had done for me. What an interesting way to see things. I'm glad you got the money, I said. My voice was flat. Yes, well, I just wanted you to know. She hung up without saying goodbye. Wednesday finally arrived. I got up at 6 in the morning, even though my appointment with Kate was at 10. I showered, I dressed, I drank coffee. I waited. At 8:30 I couldn't take it anymore. I got into my car and drove toward her house. I arrived 40 minutes later. I knocked on the door. Kate opened immediately. Her expression was serious. Too serious. "You're early," she said. "I couldn't wait any longer." She nodded. "Come in. You need to sit down for this." We entered her living room. On the coffee table was a thick folder. Dark brown, closed with rubber bands. I sat on the sofa. Kate sat across from me. She put the folder between us. "Eleanor, before opening this, I need you to breathe. I need you to be prepared. Just tell me." Kate opened the folder. She took out several documents. She put them on the table one by one. "First, the papers you signed 2 years ago. They weren't to update your health insurance." She showed me a sheet. "This is a power of attorney. A broad and permanent power of attorney. You gave Jessica total control over your finances, your properties, your medical decisions. Everything. I felt the floor move beneath me. I didn't know. I know. She deceived you. And what is worse, she did it before a notary. Your signature is there. It's legal." I took the paper. My hands were shaking. There it was. My signature. Big. Clear. Next to words I never read. Words that gave my daughter absolute power over my life. "But there is more," Kate continued. She took out other papers. Bank statements. "I have reviewed your movements of the last 3 years. There are withdrawals that you did not authorize. Small ones. $500 here. $700 there. $1,200. Never amounts large enough for you to notice. But added up." She showed me a sheet with numbers highlighted in yellow. "Added up, it's $23,000. $23,000 that Jessica has withdrawn from your account in the last 3 years. I couldn't breathe. The air had become heavy, dense. How? With the power of attorney. She went to the bank. Showed the document. The bank gave her access. She has been taking money little by little. She probably thought you would never realize. But I check my bank statements. Do you check them in detail? Every transaction? Or do you only verify that there is enough money?" She was right. I only verified the balance. I never checked transaction by transaction. "There is more," Kate said. Her voice was soft but firm. She took out more papers. "Jessica also tried to change the beneficiary of your life insurance policy, the one your husband left, $50,000. She tried to put it only in her name, but she needed your signature and couldn't forge it. That's why it's still in both names, yours and hers as a secondary beneficiary. $50,000. The last money I had left as protection. Why would she do this?" My voice broke. "I am her mother." Kate moved closer. She put her hand on mine. "Because people do terrible things when it comes to money, especially when they feel they have a right to it." "What else?" I asked, because I knew there was more. I saw it in her eyes. Kate took a deep breath. She took out the last document. It was a printed email. This was passed to me by a contact who works in social services. 6 months ago, Jessica made inquiries about nursing homes, specifically about low-cost nursing homes, public ones, and about the process to declare someone mentally incompetent. The world stopped. "What?" "She was investigating how to commit you, how to have you declared incompetent to have total control of everything. Your money, your apartment, everything." The tears began to fall. I couldn't stop them. "My own daughter wants to lock me up. Your own daughter wants your money. And you are an obstacle." I covered my face with my hands. I cried. I cried for the girl I raised, for the years I dedicated to her, for the love I gave her unconditionally, for the betrayal I never imagined. Kate let me cry. She didn't say anything. She was just there. When I finally calmed down, I looked up. "What can I do?" Kate straightened up. Her expression changed. She was no longer the compassionate friend. She was the lawyer, the strategist. "First, we revoke that power of attorney. Today, I have a trusted notary. Coming in an hour. You sign the revocation, and Jessica loses all access. And if she gets angry, let her get angry. It doesn't matter anymore. What else? You change all your passwords, banking, email, everything. You open a new account at a different bank. You transfer your money there. You close the old account. I nodded, taking mental notes. You change the beneficiary of your life insurance. You remove Jessica completely. If you want, you put it in the name of a charity, or leave it without a beneficiary until you decide what to do. Yes. And finally, Kate paused. We file a report. For fraud. For elder financial abuse. We have evidence. The unauthorized withdrawals. The power of attorney obtained through deception. She will go to jail. She could. Depends on the district attorney. Depends on how much we want to press. But at the very least, there will be an investigation. Her name will be marked. And she will have to return every cent. I thought about Madison and Tyler, my grandkids, innocent in all this. And the kids. The kids have their father. They have family. It is not your responsibility to protect Jessica from the consequences of her actions. Not even for them. She was right. I had always put Jessica first. I had always protected her. I had always sacrificed my well-being for hers. No more. Do it, I said. Do everything. Kate smiled. It wasn't a joyful smile. It was a smile of satisfaction, of justice. The notary will arrive soon. In the meantime, I am going to prepare all the documents. We are going to need several hours. Are you ready? I am ready. We spent the rest of the day working. The notary arrived. An older man. Serious. Efficient. He reviewed the original power of attorney. He prepared the revocation. I signed. My hand didn't shake. It was steady. Sure. Kate called the bank. She explained the situation. We scheduled an appointment for the next day. I would open a new account. Transfer all my money. Close the old one. We called the insurance company. I changed the beneficiary. I put it in the name of a foundation for elderly women who have been abandoned. It seemed appropriate. Finally, Kate prepared the formal complaint. I read it. Every word was true. Every accusation was backed by evidence. I signed. When will she know? I asked. The bank will notify her tomorrow that she no longer has access. The revocation of the power is recorded today. In 48 hours, she will receive the subpoena for the investigation. She is going to call me. Probably, don't answer. Or if you answer, don't argue. Just tell her to talk to your lawyer. My lawyer. Kate smiled. Me. If you accept me, I accept you. We hugged. Long. Tight. Thank you. I told her. I don't know how to repay you. You already paid me. 20 years ago. Remember? I remembered. Kate had gone through a terrible divorce. Her husband took everything. She was left homeless. Without money, I let her live in my guest room for 6 months. Free. I gave her food. Support. Friendship. That was different, I said. No, it was exactly the same. Helping someone when they need it most. Without expecting anything in return. Now it's my turn. I left her house at dusk. The sky was dark orange. The clouds looked like cotton-dyed pink. I got into my car. I put my hands on the steering wheel. For the first time in years, I felt something resembling power, control, hope. Jessica had played her game. But now it was my turn, and I wasn't going to lose. That night I slept better than I had in months. I didn't dream. I didn't wake up at midnight. I slept deeply, like when I was young and didn't carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. I woke up at 7 in the morning. The sun was coming through my bedroom window, thin rays of golden light illuminating the dust in the air. I got up. I showered. I dressed carefully. Dark gray trousers, clean white blouse, closed shoes. I combed my hair back. I put on small silver earrings. I looked in the mirror. I no longer saw a defeated woman. I no longer saw an abandoned mother. I saw someone who was taking control of her own life. Finally, at 9 in the morning, I arrived at the bank. It was a different branch from the one I had used for years. Newer, cleaner. The manager was waiting for me. A young man, 30-something years old. Charcoal suit, burgundy tie. Mrs. Vance, welcome. My name is Mr. Henderson. I understand you need to open a new account. That's right. We sat in his office. The walls were light beige. There were framed diplomas. A photo of his family. Wife, 2 small children. They looked happy. I understand from your lawyer that you have had problems with unauthorized access to your previous account. Correct. I am very sorry you went through that. Here we are going to ensure that your money is completely protected. We are going to open an account with 2-factor authentication. No one will be able to make movements without your direct approval, not even with a power of attorney. Perfect. We filled out the forms. Questions about my personal information, my address, my date of birth, beneficiaries. I left that part blank for now. How much do you wish to transfer from your previous account? Everything. Down to the last cent. Mr. Henderson nodded. He didn't ask questions. He processed the transfer. $27,400. Everything I had left after Jessica's withdrawals. The transfer will be processed in 24 hours. Meanwhile, your previous account will be blocked for withdrawals. Do you wish to close it completely? Yes. I want not a single dollar left there. Understood. I will process it today. I signed the last papers. Mr. Henderson gave me a new card, a temporary checkbook, access codes. If anyone tries to access your previous account, they will receive a notification that the account is closed. They won't be able to trace where the funds moved. Your privacy is protected. Thank you. I left the bank. I got into my car. I took a deep breath. Step 1 completed. I drove back to my apartment. On the way, I stopped at an electronics store. I bought a new phone, prepaid, new number. Nobody would have that number except Kate and the important institutions. I arrived home. I spent the next 3 hours changing passwords, email, utility accounts, everything. Long, complicated passwords, impossible to guess. I wrote each one in a notebook that I kept in a safe place. I called the insurance company again. I confirmed the change of beneficiary. They sent me a confirmation email. I printed it. I kept it in my folder of important documents. At 2 in the afternoon, my old phone rang. It was Jessica. I looked at the screen. I let it ring. Once, twice, 5 times. Finally, I answered. Hello, Mom. What the hell did you do? Her voice was a scream. Pure fury. What are you talking about? About the bank. I went to the bank to make a withdrawal, and they told me I no longer have access. That the account is closed. What is happening? I closed that account. Why? Without telling me anything. I didn't have to tell you anything. It is my account. My money. But I have power of attorney. I have the right to access. You had. Not anymore. I revoked that power yesterday. Silence. A long and heavy silence. What? Her voice was now low. Dangerous. I revoked the power of attorney you made me sign 2 years ago. The one you told me was for health insurance. The one you used to steal $23,000 from me. Steal from you? I didn't steal anything from you. That money was for family expenses, for things we needed, things you never consulted me about. Money you took without my permission. I am your daughter. I don't need your permission. Yes, you do. And you don't have it anymore. I heard her breathing. Fast. Agitated. Mom, I don't know who put those ideas in your head, but you are making a mistake. I have only tried to help you. To protect you. Protect me? Investigating nursing homes to commit me? Looking for how to declare me incompetent. Another silence. This one longer. Who told you that? It doesn't matter who. What matters is that it is true. I was just investigating options. In case someday, in the future, you ended up needing it. I don't need anything from you, Jessica, and I definitely don't need you planning to lock me up to keep what little I have left. This is ridiculous. You are paranoid. You probably have dementia and don't even realize it. Her words were darts, designed to hurt me, to make me doubt, but they no longer worked. I am 72 years old. Jessica, I don't have dementia. I have clarity. For the first time in a long time. Mom, please, let's talk calmly. Come home. Let's discuss this like adults. I am not going to your house. And there is nothing left to discuss. What do you mean by that? I mean that starting today, we are going to have a different relationship based on boundaries. On respect and on consequences. Consequences? Are you threatening me? No, I am informing you. I already filed a formal complaint for financial abuse. The investigation will begin in the next few days. I heard something fall on the other end. A stifled scream. You did what? What I had to do. Protect myself. You can't do this to me. I am your daughter. Think about Madison and Tyler. Think about what this will do to them. There it was. The last resort. The children as a shield. You should have thought about them before stealing from me, before planning to commit me, before treating me as if I were an ATM with legs. Mom, I beg you, withdraw the complaint. We can fix this as a family. We are no longer family. Jessica, you said it yourself. Your family comes first. I come last. Remember? That was a misunderstanding. I didn't mean it seriously. Yes, you said it. And I believed you. And now I act accordingly. If you continue with this, you will never see your grandkids again. Understand? Never. And there it was. The final threat. The one I knew would come. If you use your children as a weapon against me, you only prove that I am right, that you are not the mother I thought you were, that you don't deserve what I gave you. You will regret this. The only thing I regret is not having done it sooner. I hung up. I turned off the old phone. I put it in a drawer. I took out the new phone. Silence. Peace. I sat on the sofa. My hands were not shaking. My heart was beating normally. I felt light, as if I had dropped a weight I had been carrying for years. I called Kate with the new phone. How did it go? She asked. You know, she is furious. She threatened not to let me see the children. That threat has no legal validity, and besides, after this, you probably won't want to see her anyway. You're right. How do you feel? Free. Kate laughed. A soft, warm laugh. Good. Because this is just beginning. In the next few days, she is going to intensify her pressure. She is going to call. She is going to go to your house. She is going to try to manipulate you emotionally. You have to stay firm. I will. And, Eleanor, there is something else you need to do. What? You need to start living for yourself. Really? Not just defending yourself from her, but building a life worth living. A life that is yours. Her words stayed with me after hanging up. She was right. For decades I had lived for others. For my husband. For Jessica. For my grandkids. I had forgotten how to live for myself. I got up. I went to my bedroom. I opened the closet. At the back was an old shoebox. I took it out. Inside were photos. Photos from when I was young. 25 years old. 30. Smiling. Happy. There was a photo of me on the beach. Hair long in the wind. Bright yellow dress. Laughing. When was the last time I laughed like that? I closed the box. I put it away. Tomorrow I would start building. But today I just needed to rest, knowing that I had taken the first step and that there was no turning back. The next 3 days were a storm. Jessica didn't give up. On the contrary, she intensified everything exactly as Kate had predicted. The first day she called 17 times on my old phone. She left voice messages. I listened to them only once. They started with please. Mom, please, answer. We need to talk. This is a terrible misunderstanding. Then they moved to accusations. Someone is manipulating you. Someone brainwashed you. It's not you who is doing this. And they ended in threats. If you don't withdraw that complaint, you are going to regret it. I swear, I deleted every message. I didn't answer any. The second day she appeared at my apartment. She knocked on the door at 8 in the morning. I was drinking coffee in the kitchen. I heard her voice on the other side. Mom, I know you're there. Open the door. We have to talk. I stayed still, in silence. Mom, please, just let me explain. Her voice was breaking. She sounded like she was crying. Part of me wanted to open. Part of me wanted to believe her. But I remembered the documents, the withdrawals, the investigations about nursing homes. And I stayed where I was. After 20 minutes, she left. The third day, the official subpoena arrived. A manila envelope slid under my door. I picked it up. I opened it. Inside was a letter from the district attorney's office. Notification of formal investigation for elder financial abuse. Jessica Vance and Brad Vance were named as subjects of investigation. They had to appear to testify in 10 days. I called Kate. The subpoena arrived. And I feel sick. It's normal. But remember why you are doing this. I remember. Then stand firm. What comes now will be worse. But you have to resist. She was right. That afternoon my old phone rang again. This time it was Brad. I answered. Eleanor, it's Brad. His voice was calm. Controlled. Too controlled. I know who you are. We need to resolve this like civilized people. What you are doing is unnecessary. It is destructive. It is affecting the whole family. The family was already destroyed. I am just putting the facts in evidence. The facts are that Jessica has always tried to take care of you. She has always been looking out for you. And you repay her like this. With false accusations. With an investigation that can ruin her reputation. The accusations are not false. I have evidence. Evidence. Of what? That your daughter used money that you gave her freely? That she tried to help you plan your future? That is not abuse. That is love. Love would be asking me before taking my money. Love would be including me in decisions about my own life. Brad sighed. Eleanor, be reasonable. Withdraw the complaint. We can all sit down. Talk. Reach an agreement. There is no possible agreement. Then let me be clear. His voice changed. It was no longer calm. It was hard. If you go ahead with this, you are going to be left alone. Completely alone. Jessica is never going to speak a word to you again. The kids aren't going to know you. You are going to die in that miserable apartment with no one to mourn you. His words were poison, designed to scare me, to break me. If that is my reality for defending my dignity, I accept it. You are a bitter and selfish old woman. And you are a thief hiding behind his wife. I hung up. My hands were shaking now, not from fear, from rage, from indignation. How dare he? How dare he call me selfish after everything I had given them? I took a deep breath. Once, twice, 10 times. The phone rang again. I didn't answer. It rang 5 more times. I turned it off. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, thinking about Madison and Tyler, about their little faces, about their hugs. Would I see them again someday? Were they manipulating them against me? Were they telling them lies about their grandmother? Tears rolled down my cheeks. I cried in silence. For them, for what I had lost, for what I would never have. But I didn't withdraw the complaint. On the 4th day, I received a text message from an unknown number. I opened it. Grandma, it's Madison. Dad and Mom say you're sick, that you lost your mind. Is it true? I miss you. Why don't you come see us anymore? My heart broke. They were using the girl. They were putting her in the middle. I wrote back. Madison, I am not sick. I am fine. I love you very much. But right now your mom and I have adult problems. It is not your fault. Never forget that. Are you coming back? I don't know, my love, but I am always going to love you. Whatever happens, Mom is crying all the time. She says you hurt her. Why did you hurt her? I closed my eyes. How to explain to a 13-year-old girl that her mother stole from me? That she tried to lock me up? That she used me for years? Sometimes adults have to make difficult decisions to protect ourselves. That is what I am doing. I don't understand. Someday you will understand. I promise. There were no more answers. I blocked the number, not out of cruelty, but out of survival. I couldn't let them manipulate me using the children. The 5th day, a certified letter arrived. I signed for it. I opened it. It was a letter from a lawyer representing Jessica and Brad. The letter said they were considering filing a countersuit for defamation, that my accusations were false and damaging, that I had 72 hours to withdraw the complaint or face legal consequences. I called Kate. I read her the letter. She laughed. It's an intimidation tactic. It has no basis. You have evidence. They are afraid. Ignore it. Are you sure? Completely. In fact, this gives me more ammunition. They are trying to silence you through legal threats. We will add that to the file. And if they really sue me, let them do it. They will lose, and it will cost them money they don't have. That night I slept a little better. The 6th day I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered cautiously. Eleanor Vance. Who is speaking? I am Detective O'Malley. I am in charge of the investigation on the financial abuse case you filed. Do you have time to talk? Yes. We have reviewed the evidence your lawyer presented. It is solid. Very solid. The unauthorized withdrawals are documented. The power of attorney obtained through deception is clear. We have enough to proceed. What does that mean? It means we are going to call your daughter and your son-in-law to testify. We are going to interrogate them. We are going to review all their accounts. If we find more irregularities, we will file formal charges. How long will it take? Depends on their cooperation. If they confess and return the money, it could be resolved quickly. If they resist, it could take months. I understand. Mrs. Vance, I need to ask you something. Are you sure you want to move forward? These cases are difficult, especially when they involve family. Things get ugly. They are already ugly, Detective. And yes, I am sure. Very well. We will keep you informed. I hung up. I sat on the sofa. I looked out the window. The sky was gray. Heavy clouds threatened rain. I thought about Jessica, about the girl she was, about the woman she became, about how money had changed her. Or maybe she had always been like that, and I never wanted to see it. I thought about me, about the woman I had been. Compliant, generous to the point of sacrifice, invisible, and about the woman I was learning to be. Firm, protected, visible. There was no turning back. The storm was just beginning. But I had an umbrella. I had a shield. I had Kate. And for the first time in years, I had myself. 2 weeks passed. 2 weeks of silence from Jessica and Brad. It was a strange silence, unnatural, like the calm before a bigger storm. I knew something was happening behind the scenes. Kate kept me informed. They were cited to testify tomorrow. She told me on the phone. Detective O'Malley has everything ready. The evidence, the bank statements, the fraudulent power of attorney, everything. What will happen? They will be interrogated separately. They will look for inconsistencies in their stories. If one of the two breaks, everything crumbles. Do you think they will confess? Brad, no. He is too arrogant. But Jessica, maybe. When she sees that the evidence is irrefutable, maybe she will try to save her own skin by blaming Brad. That night I couldn't sleep. I imagined the scene. Jessica sitting in an interrogation room, the detective showing her the papers, the withdrawals, the dates, the amounts. Her face when she realized there was no escape. Part of me felt satisfaction, but another part, a small part that still remembered when she was a baby, felt pain. The next day I waited by the phone. Kate had told me she would call me after the statements. The hours passed slowly. I made coffee. I didn't drink it. I tried to read. I couldn't concentrate. I walked through my apartment, from the living room to the kitchen, from the kitchen to the bedroom, over and over again. At 5 in the afternoon, the phone rang. Eleanor, it's over. And? It was exactly as I thought. Brad denied everything. He said the withdrawals were verbally authorized by you, that you signed the power of attorney knowing perfectly well what it was, that all this is an invention of someone who manipulated you. And Jessica? Kate paused. Jessica broke. She cried for half an hour. She confessed that she deceived you with the power of attorney. She admitted she took money without your permission, but she tried to justify it, saying it was for family emergencies, that you never asked what it was spent on, that she assumed it was okay. She assumed? Yes. As if assuming were enough to take $23,000 from your account. What's next? The prosecutor will review the case. He will decide if he files formal charges. But Eleanor, there is something else. What? The detective investigated deeper. He found other things. Jessica used your health insurance to pay for aesthetic procedures for herself. Botox, facial fillers, dental treatments. She added up another $7,000 in insurance fraud. I felt dizzy. I had to sit down. What? I'm sorry, but it's better that you know everything. $30,000 in total. $30,000 stolen from me while I lived in a small apartment, eating canned soup 3 times a week to save money. There will be charges, very likely. Insurance fraud is a federal crime that no longer depends on you. The government is going to pursue it anyway. I hung up. I stayed seated on the sofa, immobile, processing. My daughter was going to face criminal charges. She could go to jail. Her reputation would be destroyed. Her life, as she knew it, would end. And I had been the one who lit the fuse. Did I regret it? No. The following days were chaotic. The news leaked. Small towns are like that. Rumors fly faster than the truth. I received calls from people I hadn't seen in years. Neighbors from my old house, co-workers from the bakery, all with the same question. Is it true that your daughter stole from you? I answered with the truth. Simple, direct. Yes. Some offered me support. You did well to report her. No one deserves to be treated like that. Others judged me. But she is your daughter. Family forgives. Family doesn't report family. I stopped answering the phone. A week later, Kate called me early in the morning. Turn on the news. Local channel. Now, I turned on the television. I searched for the channel. There it was. A report. Local woman accused of defrauding her elderly mother. Jessica Vance, 38, faces charges for first-degree elder financial abuse and health insurance fraud. According to court documents, Vance obtained power of attorney through deception and withdrew more than $30,000 from her mother's accounts over 3 years. They showed a photo of Jessica, an old photo, from when Madison was born. She looked young, happy, innocent. Then they showed the house they bought with my money. Cameras outside, reporters knocking on the door. Brad came out. He looked furious. No comment. This is a misunderstanding. Get off my property. He slammed the door shut. The reporter continued. The victim, Eleanor Vance, 72, refused to give statements. But her lawyer confirmed that the accusations are true and that there is substantial evidence. I turned off the television. The whole town knew now. Everyone would be talking. Jessica wouldn't be able to go to the supermarket without being pointed at. Brad wouldn't be able to go to work without facing stares. The children would hear things at school. I felt bad for Madison and Tyler. They had no fault. But neither did I. 2 days later, the prosecutor filed formal charges. First-degree elder financial abuse, health insurance fraud, fraudulent obtaining of power of attorney. Each charge carried possible prison time. The trial date was scheduled for 6 months later. Jessica hired a lawyer, an expensive one, paid, probably, with money they still had left from what they stole from me. The lawyer tried to negotiate. He offered to return the full money plus interest. He offered a public apology. He offered community service. Anything to avoid jail. The prosecutor consulted with me. Mrs. Vance, if you accept the deal, your daughter will return $32,000. She will do community service. She will have probation for 5 years. She will not go to prison. What do you think? And the insurance fraud. That charge the government will pursue anyway, but they will probably also reach an agreement. I thought. $32,000. More than what they took from me. The freedom of knowing that Jessica faced consequences without completely destroying her life. I accept, I said, but with one condition. Which one? That part of the agreement includes that she and Brad cannot contact me ever again. Permanent restraining order. If they try to approach, they violate the agreement and go to prison. The prosecutor nodded. I can include that. A week later, we signed the agreement. Jessica and Brad also signed. We didn't see each other. Everyone signed in separate offices. I received a check for $32,000. I deposited it in my new account. My balance was now almost $60,000, more than what I had before all this started. Jessica served 200 hours of community service. In a nursing home, the irony was perfect. Brad lost his job. His father's company didn't want the scandal. They fired him quietly. They had to sell the house. The house bought with my money. They moved to a small apartment, 2 bedrooms. Similar to mine, the children changed schools to avoid the bullying, to start over. I watched everything from afar, without joy, without sadness, only with the calm of knowing that justice, although painful, had been served. Kate visited me one afternoon. "How do you feel?" "Empty. It's normal. You just closed a huge chapter of your life. And now what? Now you live." "Really? For you." She hugged me. Long, tight. She was right. The past was buried. The accounts. Settled. The betrayal. Exposed. Now came the hardest part. Building a new life from scratch, at 72 years old. But for the first time in decades, that life would be completely mine. 3 months after the agreement, I woke up one morning, and something was different. The light entered through the window differently, clearer, warmer. Or maybe it was me who saw differently. I got up. I made coffee. I sat by the window. I looked at the parking lot below. The cars. People going to work. Life happening. And for the first time in years, I felt that I was also part of that life. Not just a spectator. I made a decision. I called Kate. "I want to move." "Move? Where to?" "I don't know yet. But far from here. Far from the memories. Far from everything. Sounds perfect to me. Do you need help?" "Yes. I need you to help me sell this apartment. And to look for something new. In another city, near the ocean." Kate laughed. "The ocean. How specific. I always wanted to live near the ocean. When I was young, my husband and I talked about retiring in a coastal town. We never did. There was always something more important. Jessica's studies. The house. The debts. Always something. Well, now there is nothing stopping you." She was right. In 2 weeks I sold the apartment. It wasn't worth much, but added to the recovered money, I had enough to start over. Kate helped me look. We found a small condo in a coastal town 4 hours away. A single story. 1 bedroom. Small kitchen. But it had a balcony. And from the balcony, you could see the ocean. I bought it without thinking twice. I packed my things. I didn't have much. Clothes, some books, photos I decided to keep, my husband's, Jessica's when she was a child, my grandkids. Although I would probably never see them again, I wanted to remember that they were once mine. The day of the move, Kate came to say goodbye. "Are you sure about this?" she asked me. "Completely. And if you feel lonely?" "I have been lonely for years. Surrounded by people, but lonely. Now at least it will be a chosen loneliness." We hugged. We cried a little, but they were good tears. Of closure. Of gratitude. "Thanks for saving me," I told her. "I didn't save you. You saved yourself. I just gave you the tools." I got into my car. The same old silver sedan. I drove for 4 hours. Long highways, landscapes that changed. Mountains, valleys, and finally the ocean. When I arrived in town, I got out of the car and breathed. The air smelled of salt, of freedom. My condo was small but perfect. Walls clean white, light wood floor, large windows, and that balcony overlooking the ocean. I unpacked slowly. I arranged my things. I put the photos on a shelf. I hung my clothes. I organized the kitchen. On the 3rd day, I decided to do something I had never done. Learn to drive better, really well, with confidence. I signed up for driving lessons for seniors. The instructor was a young man, patient, kind. He taught me how to parallel park, how to drive on the highway, how not to be afraid. "You drive very well for your age," he told me one day. "I drive well for any age," I replied. He smiled. "You're right." I began to explore the town. Small, quiet. There was a library, a bakery that smelled of cinnamon and vanilla, a farmer's market every Sunday, kind people who greeted without knowing you. I started walking on the beach every morning. Barefoot, feeling the sand between my toes, the cold water on my feet, the sun on my face. I met other women, women my age, some widows, some divorced, some who had also fled from toxic families. We gathered on Thursdays to drink coffee, to talk, to laugh. One of them, Cecilia, told me one day, "It is never too late to start over." "I am 72 years old," I replied. "So what? You still breathe, you still walk, you still have dreams. That is enough." I started writing. First, just for me, my memoirs, my story, everything I had lived, the betrayal, the pain, the justice, the liberation. I wrote every night on the balcony, overlooking the ocean, with the sound of the waves in the background. One day I received a letter from the previous town. I recognized it by the sender. It was from Madison. My heart raced. I hesitated before opening it. Finally, I did. "Grandma, I am 14 years old now. I understand more things. Mom told me everything. What she did, how she hurt you. She says she regrets it, but that it is already late. I want you to know that I am not angry with you. I understand why you did what you did, and even though I can't see you, I love you. I am always going to love you. I hope you are happy. Wherever you are, your granddaughter, Madison." I cried. I cried for her innocence, for her understanding beyond her age. I wrote back to her. I told her about the ocean, about my new life, about the women I had met. I told her that I loved her, that I would always love her, and that when she was an adult, if she wanted to find me, I would be here. I sent the letter. I don't know if Jessica let her read it, but I fulfilled my part by sending it. The months passed. Summer turned into autumn, autumn into winter. Every season brought something new, new friendships, new routines, new peace. I turned 73. My friends threw me a small party on the beach. Chocolate cake, candles that the wind blew out, laughter, off-key singing. That night, alone on my balcony, I looked at the ocean, the waves rising and falling, constant, eternal. I thought about the whole journey traveled, about the woman I was, invisible, compliant, sacrificed, and about the woman I was now, visible, firm, free. I didn't have family nearby. I didn't have grandkids knocking on my door. I didn't have a daughter calling me on Sundays. But I had something more valuable. I had myself, complete, whole, mine. And that, I discovered, was enough, more than enough. If you made it this far, thank you for joining me in this story. I know it is difficult to talk about these topics, of family betrayal, of abuse, of having to choose oneself over those who should love us. But if you are living something similar, I want you to know this. You are not alone. You deserve respect. You deserve dignity. And never, never is it too late to defend your peace. Leave me a comment telling me which part of the story touched your heart the most. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share this story. See you in the next one. Take care. And remember, your life belongs to you. Always.